Welcome back to Real Estate and Home Improvement. I'm your host, Mike Briggs. We've been coming here since 2008 telling you good things. We celebrate what's good about Fresno, what's good about the Valley, what's good about the state, and we bring experts onto our show. We had an expert last week telling you how to pick a roofer. We had a plumber on saying what to watch out for when hiring a plumber. Today's guest is an expert on landscaping, landscape design, soils, John Valentino. Do I have it right so far?
Sounds good so far.
Now you, anybody thinks they can just go out and plant a plant and it's going to do good. But there's a lot that should go into deciding what you plant. You know, what's going to do well in our climate, what is going to grow into, etc.
Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you can just go out and plant a plant and it might do well. There's miraculous things going on there that sometimes are beyond our control. But what our position is we want to maximize the health of the soil to make sure when you plant a plant it does well, and for it not to depend on the applications of chemicals to control aphid and to make sure you don't get rust. And we think if you empower the soil with all kinds of microbiology, that your plant will do well without having to use chemicals and pesticides and that type of stuff.
A lot of people don't want the pesticides. I talked to you about a pet I have, and I don't want my pet getting the chemicals and pesticides, and I just don't feel comfortable spraying poisons and stuff around anyway.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Why should we put toxic chemicals around our homes, around our schools? I don't think it's widely understood that the most convenient, sustainable way to garden is through the soil. We call it soil-based gardening. So rather than, if you apply some kind of chemical fertilizer, plants really like that chemical fertilizer, but usually the soil doesn't. And so the soil isn't building these defense mechanisms to make sure you don't get pests and diseases. Whereas if you feed the soil at the same time you're feeding the plants, then the soil builds all these defense mechanisms and you won't have sick plants. The most popular fertilizer in the United States right now is Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro does a great job of feeding plants, but it doesn't feed soil. So we kind of want to change the way America gardens. Let's think about the soil. If we feed the soil at the same time we feed our plants, we're going to have a lot more sustainable gardens, a lot less pest and disease, and really a more efficient way to garden and landscape.
It's about the soil.
Exactly.
Now you have some products that you make, invented, or I don't know how you'd call it, but
both.
Something very naturally. Before we go there, I want to say this, is that you do a weekly, you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And you do a weekly presentation on things like this?
Yeah, it's about all kinds of things that we encounter. It's what we do every day, so we bring people along with us to look at our YouTube videos to see what we're doing, mostly in Fresno, but sometimes we go out of town, and that's at youtube.com/JohnandBobs. You can watch. Right now we have about 250 videos on that YouTube channel about all kinds of topics related to gardening and landscaping. And so we encourage you to subscribe and view. We need more subscribers and more viewers.
So the John and Bob's, you're the John Valentino, and Bob Truxell?
Bob Truxell is the Bob. Yeah.
Is the Bob, okay. And so all the videos are always there, so you can go back and look at different subjects.
That's the neat thing about it. Once you do a video, we started in 2020. All of them are available now, and we keep trying to gauge what people want to learn about and posting a new one every Wednesday about soil and about plants and about landscape design, all kinds of topics related to what we do every day in our profession.
Now tell me about the soil. This is a product you guys sell, I would imagine.
So what we sell isn't really soil. It's more like a soil amendment that infuses your soil in your own home with life, beneficial life, like beneficial bacteria, fungi, protozoa, good nematodes, and what that is called is the soil food web. We want to engage the soil food web And we do that with these John and Bob's products that are very easy to apply. They're really like a concentrated compost. They're affordable, they're easy to apply. If you go to an expert and say, I have terrible soil, usually they'll recommend compost. And usually people don't do it because compost, you got to buy a big pile and you picture yourself hauling it around. So what we've tried to do is make a product that's very accessible and that you have no reason not to do, because you can do it in 10 minutes, you make topical applications, and it addresses soil life, which we think is the #1 factor in making sure you have healthy soil, is life and microbiological life in the soil. So that's what the whole line is all about.
Would you say a lot of people kill the stuff that is in their soil? They spend a lot of time killing it?
Yeah, you can kill it by over applying chemical fertilizer. Most pesticides and fungicides, people get a fungus on their lawn, they use a fungicide. All of those things kill the good stuff that we want to encourage. And when you kill it, you think you're helping the problem, but what you're doing is making sure you're going to have that same problem every year and have to keep applying those products. That's the opposite of soil-based gardening. What we want to do, instead of using a fungicide, is treat the soil in a way where we increase the amount of good fungi, and that good fungi is way stronger than the bad fungus that's causing your problem. And so that's how we're going to get rid of fungus in your lawn, or aphid, or almost every other pest and disease there is.
Yeah, I kept thinking, I'm going to get this put it on my gardens and on my vegetable gardens and everything, but you're saying you put it right on the lawn too.
Oh yeah, lawn, vegetables, everything that would benefit from healthy soil, which is pretty much everything that grows.
And I thought I'd be mixing it into my soil, but you told me earlier, no, you just put it on the top.
You put it on the top. If you like the idea of incorporating it a little, you can rake it into about an inch. You can mix it in deeply, but I think you get the most value for your money if you don't mix it in deeply. Most of existing microbiology in soil is in the top 2 or 3 inches. So we want our products to kind of work together with that existing microbiology. So, and one thing that you run into all the time is people have the opportunity to improve their soil when they're doing landscaping, or when but then year after year, they don't have that opportunity. With our product, you can continue to improve your soil every 6 months, as we recommend. So you're constantly improving the quality of your soil by applying beneficial life, food for life, and attractants for life.
Where do we get it, by the way?
You can get it online at johnandbobs.com. Quite a few nurseries on the West Coast have it. We sell to distributors, so we're kind of unsure which retail nurseries are buying it, but it's available at many retail nurseries, or you can buy it online. Oh, it's also available on Amazon. But what we've done in the last few years is increase our focus on trying to sell directly to consumers, because we think we can do the best job of explaining the product and explaining what's needed in order to solve specific problems. So we have been promoting buying it directly from us at johnandbobs.com, but we're also good with buying it from nurseries, and we sell to distributors who sell to nurseries.
So it comes in big bags? Or?
No. The whole concept of the line is that it's convenient. So I usually tell people you can put these small bags in your trunk. Well, sometimes you can even put them in your glove compartment. They're that small.
That small.
We're not selling big piles of anything. We're selling small containers that are concentrated, and that's why it's convenient.
Very convenient. Well, I'm going to get it because I garden, and I'm going to make John come out and look at my garden. Last year I made you do that too, but I have decided that my issues are the soil. But I was going to do what you said. I was going to get all this compost and mix it up deep, because I thought the roots would go looking for it. But your way sounds a lot easier.
Well, and what you do is on top, and you use things like mycorrhiza that attaches itself to roots, and as roots grow and water comes in, it does go to deeper levels. Yeah. But we start out on the top because that's where most of the life is in your soil.
And you say about every 6 months.
We recommend every 6 months.
I'm going to go to johnandbobs.com right after.
Well, I wish I would have known. I would have brought you some. But,
bring me a sample, John. Now, you're based in Fresno. But
we're in Fresno.
But you're serving all of California or all the nation?
Well, online we sell all over the country. We sell to every state in the country, even Hawaii. But we're in Fresno, and our YouTube channel is mostly showing Fresno gardens and our work in Fresno. So in terms of our construction and building the gardens that we do, that's mostly in Fresno. But in terms of selling our John and Bob's products, that's all over the country.
And I guess I could go to the website and read about the science, but somehow you're growing this good soil or this good, what do you call it, supplement somewhere?
Amendments. We're not really growing them. We're accessing different sources of them. For instance, like ground up basalt. Ground up basalt is from lava deposits. So ground up basalt is full of minerals. Minerals is like turning on a light switch in terms of making your soil full of beneficial microbes. Beneficial microbes love minerals. So ground up basalt is one of our key ingredients. So we source the ground up basalt, we mix it with a concentrated compost, we mix it with mycorrhiza, and we're doing this with all of our products. We're not growing anything, we're sourcing material and mixing it together.
But there's something living in there.
There's something living in about half of the products, and the products that don't have something living have food for living things or attractants for living things. So actually 2 of our products have living things in there, and 2 of them are just basically food.
I see. We're going to close with a video, but before we get to the video, any last thoughts for our viewers?
I can't think of anything. Your questions have been good. I hope I've explained it properly.
How about this? Go to johnandbobs.com, and is there a lot of explanations there?
Yes.
Reasons? And
yeah,
stuff
the
like that?
website has all kinds of information.
I'm a studious person. I like to read and understand things. I garden, and so I'm always reading things. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff I read, it's not from the valley here where we have kind of unique conditions sometimes.
Well, you can not only read about it, but you can go watch 250 videos, which are pretty comprehensive, and you can watch my dog and I explain all of what you've just asked me about on a deeper level on our YouTube videos.
Do you know what this video is, or what we might
that
see?
video we did about a garden that she wanted to change her garden that had a fescue lawn that was requiring a lot of water into something what you might call xeriscape. And so we did an instructional video on how do you change a water-using garden into a low water-using garden, and we used a ground cover called Carapia instead of the lawn, and we changed it to drip irrigation, and we did a series of 3 or 4 videos about it. Nice. And it's right near where we are right now. It's right near Shields and Van Ness neighborhood.
Yeah,
so
like
it's right here in our neighborhood.
Very much so. I bet I recognize that house, actually. Cause, all right. We enjoy the video, and then please go visit johnandbobs.com, and we'll be back after this video.
This is a very water-efficient, low-maintenance garden that doesn't look like a desert. The owner is Eileen, and Eileen didn't like struggling with all the water the tall fescue required and wanted something a little different. So we came up with this idea of trying to make the garden more interactive and a lot less maintenance. She was just telling me she had foot surgery recently, so she hasn't been doing much to it, and yet it looks really darn good. We took out the spray system that was watering the tall fescue, changed it to a drip system. We put this path through the garden going from the main entrance to the backyard, put a bench there next to the gate. In the park strip, it's all Carapia, and the new street trees being ginkgo. Where the lawn used to be is taken up by Carapia and some sedum and some Russellia, St. Elmo's fire. Very tough plants that don't require a lot of water. The other side of the main entrance there, we took out the lawn and we put in ice cap roses. The area had Mexican heather already, and we retained it. Then we added the liriope and low-growing loropetalum, and then this limonium is blooming spectacularly right now. The real maintenance is just making sure everything gets watered properly, and then controlling the carapace, so edging it on a regular basis so that it doesn't grow way over the walk. It grows really pretty darn aggressively, but you can maintain it. If you use small plants inside of it, you might have to just trim the carapace so that it doesn't grow over the plants. You can see, like on this Russellia St. Elmo's fire, it's starting to grow over the top, and she was worried about it swallowing her plants. If you have big trees or plants like this ginkgo, it just grows right up to the trunk. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about it. Or you could just plant it in areas without plants in the middle of it. So Eileen says that she's using significantly less water, and the way she characterizes it is the way many of us might like to think about it, in that her bill for similar times has been about $40 less a month. I don't know exactly how much water that is, but she knows she's using less, and she sees an opportunity here to use even less. Everything's looking good. I'm encouraging her to keep cutting it back. Our goal in watering is water the least amount and have everything look good and not stressed. And so I'd like her to try to find out where that point is. Like right now, obviously nothing's stressed. Let's cut the time back. Let's maybe even cut the days back. Let's water as little as possible. If you recall from our other video, Antonio claims he waters his carapace only every other week in the middle of the summer and does it by hand with a hose. It doesn't even have an irrigation system. The only frustrating things she finds about trying to water this properly is she can't see the water, and that is a problem with drip irrigation. You can't see what's going on. You can't see if the soil looks real wet. But she does find that frustrating, that she can't see the irrigation working, which you can with a spray system. And you could water this with a spray system effectively. The drip is probably a little more efficient and is looked upon as a good way if you're trying to conserve water. The maintenance on this is very low. I can tell you the plants have not been a problem. All the plants have done well. Eileen uses Blend as a top dress, once or twice a year. We had that loss of the Mayten. We replaced it with the flamethrower Cercis. Other than that, all these plants are original to our renovation. There have been a couple of maintenance challenges, and mostly related to removing a fescue lawn, and a fescue lawn that was invaded by Bermuda. We knew the Bermuda was going to be a problem. We killed the Bermuda 2 or 3 times. We actually left it brown for 2 or 3 months because we kept respraying with glyphosate to try to get the roots. You could dig it out. We killed it with a chemical. So there were some issues with Bermuda coming back into the parking strip, and once Bermuda gets in carapace, it's difficult to get rid of it. But we just persevered through that. We're watering plants that don't require a lot of water, and we're creating spaces that people use. This is what landscaping is about. This is a really nice garden. The other thing that's interesting in this garden is we had a Mayten tree in this raised circular planter, and we replaced it with a really interesting tree that I like a lot, and it has a very apt name. It's a Cercis, and this particular one is called Flamethrower, and right now it's throwing some flames. We just planted it about a year ago, and we planted it as a 15-gallon. Pretty spectacular, and it's doing well, and I think that's going to be a real good spot for it.